Well, a very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Evan Sokini, and I'm so glad to bring you up to date with comprehensive analysis of all that is taking place in this country, be it issues touching on the current political happenings within and issues of governance therein as well. I'm here with Professor Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Welcome to another episode of the
Thank you, Evans.
We are here, and of course, as usual, we are still looking at how things are moving pretty fast in the country. I want us to get into this conversation. Of course, it has been said, and now it is there, that the former super CS, Fred Matiang'I, all the way from Kisilands, has actually decided to bring together his machineries in order to perhaps pave way for his 2027 presidential bid. Reports have been given outside here of him hiring a PR firm, Canadian-based PR firm, that will actually do the lobbying for him in preparation for the 2027 race. Now, let's get here. First of all, how possible do you think this would be before we get into the nitty-gritties of the same?
A Matiang'I candidate has been on the cards for a long time. Even before it became clear Raila was going to run as Azimio candidate, during the handshake and BBI period, it was rumored that Matiang'I will be going, perhaps deputized by Kega or something like that. That was there. So, and in the recent past, I've heard people mention Matiang'I.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it cannot.
So it's possible.
So it's possible.
It's possible. Yeah. Even the Gen Zs, you know, the name Matiang'I came out as a possible candidate. More than any other, it was Matiang'I, there was Mtata, and maybe one or two others. I added for them Mother Karua. So Matiang'i's name has been around for a while. Yeah.
Let's get to his strategy. First of all, hiring this particular international firm to do the lobbying for him. Do you think this is a good strategy? Will it actually help propel him to the presidency in 2027?
I can only say one thing, that elections are increasingly becoming a science. So the election of jumping on podium from place to place with blaring music, with people, candidates in uniform, those days are long gone. It must be a science. You must be calculate. You must calculate. You must use the science to put the figures on the table. Yeah, so that if it doesn't work, you don't waste your time. Yeah. So if he's doing that, that's a modern way of running an election campaign.
But questions also abound. Is this the right way of doing things? Is this the only formula that is actually being currently used to get to the House on the Hill? Because people are asking, can't you just approach Kenyans directly, or must you then hire these bodies to lobby for you, international partners and maybe some other powerful countries outside there?
I don't know if it is true, but if that is true, Matiang'I hasn't told me. He would tell me maybe one day if it is running. I happen to know him a bit. If it is true, then it could be the stage that Americans call the exploratory stage, where you are exploring the possibility of your candidacy. Should you run? Before you get there, you can't get to the voters to begin asking for votes. There's that space you use to find out whether you stand a chance. And if yes, how would you go about it? Now, at that stage now, you look at the voter. Who is the Kenyan voter? What does he want? What does he think? That informs your strategy. Then you enter into the campaign, and you have a campaign plan. That's, yeah.
So in a way,
it's something I do for people all the time.
Oh, you also do the same?
Hillman Analytica. You have never heard of such a serious company.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So you also do some of this?
I do that. I may not be in the league of those Canadian firms, but I can assure you, if they came here and I did, I'll beat them. Yeah.
You do serious
because I understand the ground more than them.
And strategic planning.
I remember Cambridge Analytica did things that were very simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that seemingly you're more conversant with this, let's get to the possibility of this Fred Matiang'I on the ballot as a ticket in the year 2027. Definitely, we expect him to be facing the incumbent president here, William Ruto. Let's look at some of the factors that may perhaps tilt towards or against Matiang'i's favor.
First of all, in politics, there's what we call name recognition. You want to run for MCA or MP somewhere in Migori. First of all, you have to deal with name recognition. Do people know you? That will take as much as 60% of your resources and time. Even more. Just people to know there's somebody called Evans Okinyi. What is your constituency? Wrong or what?
No, Awendo. It's called Awendo.
Awendo. For people to get to know Evans Okinyi, it will take 60% of your resources and energy and time. Or even more. Give or take 10, what have you. Okay. So for Matiang'I, already people know him.
Okay, so the name recognition
he has been on people's lips. Okay. So the name recognition, he has already ticked. Then, how do people know you? People associate Matiang'I with hard work, with honesty, with seriousness. In fact, too serious for some people. That goes back the day he was in the Ministry of Education, the way he streamlined it. When he was acting land CS, when he was in Interior, when he was in ICT. The name Matiang'I is synonymous with hard work and a bit of honesty, I should think. So, name recognition is there. He's known for the right things. You can be known, but known for the wrong things. Okay. Matiang'I is known for the right things. And therefore, save for the tribal nature of our politics, where he comes from a small community, he has everything that would go for him. Finally, Matiang'I may be a beneficiary of the dynamics of the time. Because even like the Gen Zs, they are not dreaming they can take a Gen Z to State House. They know it will be somebody other than them. So if they see their dream being realized through a person, as indeed it will be, and if that person be Matiang'I the way it has been mentioned, then Matiang'I will be a big beneficiary of the dynamics of the time. Okay? Secondly, people know Ruto to be tough. People are saying if we could beat combined Raila, Uhuru force, 2027 is a walkover. So the only hope Kenyans would have, if they want to remove Ruto because he has overtaxed them, he has done the things he has done which they don't like, would be to look for a man who can match him. Okay. Giving the level of seriousness. Because look at Kalonzo Musyoka. People are saying now that Raila has gone to be with Ruto. Kalonzo Musyoka is the next alternative, but he lacks that seriousness, the toughness expected. Because people are looking at a man who can face Ruto, and they are under no illusion. They know facing Ruto is not going to be a walk in the park. And therefore, Matiang'I brings the level of seriousness which Kalonzo lacks by far. So that the only other person who can have that kind of level of seriousness is somebody like Gachagua, Rigathi Gachagua. Okay. You know him, the truthful man of God.
The truthful man of God.
Son of
Mau.
So if Kenyans really want to remove Ruto, they will look past Kalonzo Musyoka because he's the alternative now as we speak. But he doesn't have that seriousness you can be sure can face Ruto in 2020. So Matiang'I brings that seriousness.
But somebody will
just as Gachagua would bring.
Somebody would ask, is there numbers behind the seriousness?
That's now where you go to the numbers. And I'm explaining the numbers in terms of not regional. If it's Gachagua, he has the numbers. Okay. In fact, Gachagua will begin from when everybody puts their initial votes on the table, his will draft all the rest. He begins the biggest number on the table. Then you go and hunt elsewhere. Matiang'I will begin with almost nothing. Okay. Some few miserable numbers. So he has to be a beneficiary of the dynamics of the time. Of the Gen Z revolution, for example. Of the Kenyan anger. The sort of anger Kibaki benefited from in 2002. Kibaki on his own was no match to Moi. He would not have beaten even Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta would have whitewashed Kibaki because of who he was. But the anger that was generated in the country because of the missteps of Ukanu and Moi propelled Kibaki to power because all the forces against Moi and his Uhuru candidate joined and gave Kibaki the power to remove Kanu from power. I always say it is in quotes because Kanu was not removed. Okay. So Matiang'I will be a beneficiary of that. And unlike Kibaki, he has the stamina, the energy, the determination, and the seriousness to harness that anger in the country. Kalonzo would have the same support, But he lacks the seriousness, the toughness to harness that anger in beating Ruto. That leaves Matiang'I and Rigathi Gachagua perhaps as the only people who can do that.
Are you therefore trying to say that for the first time Kenyans would go to the ballot and vote based on people's principles and not their ethnic backgrounds?
I think it will be so because although Ruto told us it was so in 2022, I didn't see much of it.
Okay.
But with the Gen Z revolution and with the anger in the country against what politicians are doing, not just Ruto, with the way Parliament is able to gang up against the very people who have elected them in passing obnoxious laws, including criminalizing the planting of some things like ndengu, green grams. That anger collectively and the punitive taxes, that anger collectively can be harnessed to make Kenyans vote in a manner they have never voted before.
Okay.
And that's how people like Matiang'I may benefit. Yeah.
Should he run, where do you think he's actually likely to get a running mate from?
Of
And
course, choice of running mate will be very critical. For now, let me not pretend to know. It is something I need to think about very seriously. People are talking of women. He might look at that constituency of the gender constituency of women. You cannot ignore Mount Kenya. I don't know if he could have to go to Mount Kenya, because Ruto seems to have grabbed Western and Nyanza, and Matiang'I is from Nyanza, and by extension Western Kenya. So that rules out anybody from Western, Nyanza, all those. So it will be Mount Kenya, where the votes are. I think basically we'll have to go to Mount Kenya.
So talking of Mount Kenya, we've had names such as Muhoho Kenyatta being in the limelight of late. Talk to me about this choice as perhaps a possible running mate for Matiang'I, and definitely when you hear the Kenyattas, then definitely Uhuru Kenyatta would be behind the scenes.
Yes,
How would this work for or against him?
It will bring in the numbers. It will bring in the numbers. Then they would be hoping that Rigathi Gachagua will not leave Ruto.
Okay.
Yeah. If Rigathi Gachagua goes with Ruto in 2027, and the Ruto still keeps him as his running mate, then Mount Kenya will be left open for the Kenyattas to take and deliver whatever they want. Yeah.
And definitely somebody would assume that Uhuru Kenyatta would be behind that.
That's what I'm saying, the Kenyattas.
Okay, the Kenyattas.
Yes.
Now, they were behind Raila Odinga in the last general election, yet we did not see Raila win. How then do you think that would be different this time around?
I want to explain this thing one of these days. It is not true that Uhuru did not deliver Mount Kenya to Raila. Because how do you explain Raila getting a million votes, clean votes from Mount Kenya people? Is that a joke? Is it a joke that Raila will be able to get 1 million plus votes? Can you just walk there and get? Because normally in polling stations, Raila will be getting 10 votes, 30 votes, when Uhuru Kenyatta is getting what. And this time, he got. Secondly, there was a paralysis created in Mount Kenya. And I'm going to talk about this one of these days. This is the paralysis. Uhuru began by convincing the people of Mount Kenya, but they were not believing him because they were so annoyed with him. And I'm asking Ruto, people can be annoyed even at your own people because of ukiwafinya and a cost of living. The Mount Kenya people were so annoyed with Uhuru, they were not listening to him. And then he made it worse by bringing Raila, the person they had been made to hate and fear. But let me tell you, as we were moving towards the election, the words of Uhuru began to ring in the ears of the Mount Kenya people. And they began to change. Election came before that transformation and the change was completed. That explains why, and I want anybody to come here and challenge me, that explains why in that state of paralysis, many people in Mount Kenya did not go and vote. They were still, instead of that, you can call it confusion, the paralysis, they did know, because they were beginning to see Uhuru was making sense. But they hadn't made the final step to cross over and vote for Raila. A lot of the Mount Kenya voters were caught there. And that's why people who argue that the turnout was not what we have been given could be having a point.
So you're saying that even the kind of relationship between perhaps the former president and Rigathi Gachagua, the current deputy president, still may not actually affect whether he will support Matiang'I or not?
Come again?
Are you saying so? Okay, my question is this. Owing to the fact that right now there is some sort of good relationship between Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua,
yes,
so to say, do you then think that should Rigathi Gachagua stick with William Ruto, that Uhuru Kenyatta would again support a rival candidate?
Yeah, because the Mount Kenya really, you must perform some sort of miracle to bring the Mount Kenya people back to Ruto.
Okay.
This is like they have left. Mm-hmm. So if Rigathi Gachagua doesn't read that and sticks with Ruto, he will leave Mount Kenya people with their anger, annoyed, not willing to board Ruto's bus, and that may make it very easy for Uhuru Kenyatta and the Kenyatta family at large to direct things in Mount Kenya, where they will go.
So, okay, finally,
and that's why I've been saying, if Rigathi Gachagua offered himself for president, he will be a very serious presidential candidate. But if you offer to support a serious candidate, it will be game over. It will be very simple for them.
So assuming he gets the numbers from Central, then let's now perhaps finish with his backyard, of course, Nyanza region. Yes. And the rest of the areas are somehow in the swing regions where anybody can just campaign and perhaps get whichever number of votes. Now that, right now, the relationship between Raila and Ruto, how then does that work for or against him in terms of how he'll get the support from the Nyanza region?
Raila's working with Ruto has not been received in the manner Raila's moves are received by his people. Okay. This time there is some resistance. There are people who and this thing has been growing gradually. It has not just started. If you look at the turnout in the Nyanza region, the Luo Nyanza region counties, it will tell you over 30% people didn't vote for Raila. Didn't vote. They stayed at home. That is enough testimony that Raila's influence is beginning to have a small challenge. And mainly because of the way he does. Like supporting unpopular candidates. A special president like Siaya. Unpopular candidates. There was also issue of Kidero in Homa Bay. Those things make people get annoyed and it affects the turnout. So this supporting Ruto will leave Nyanza for the first time open to different candidates. He will get a big chunk and deliver to Ruto if he's made AU chairman. He will get a very big chunk of votes and deliver to Ruto. But there will be sufficient chunk for Matiang'I if Matiang'I stood. Okay. Yeah. About more than 40% of Nyanza will go to Matiang'I. And that's not bad. Okay. That's not bad. And then he gets Mount Kenya. And then he picks up even Western Kenya. Matiang'I will get 20 or so percent, 20, 30%. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Remember, this is a very good developing story and political occurrence here in the country. Our eyes are still fixed on the ground. We want to see how far the former super CEs will actually go with this particular race. Maybe let's wait and see. We can see him in 2027. Or maybe not, but then time will tell. Our team is on the ground and we'll keep you updated with all that is taking place in this country and across the borders. If you're watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel here and feel free to support us through the number that has always been displayed therein. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.